question is that what does a recruiter look for in a group discussion? How many of you find this question to be of importance to you? How many of you? Right, good. So that means we are addressing almost everybody. There are, what's your name? Manas. Manas, when we said that this session is about you, your life in general, you could ask anything. You could ask anything. Let's try to understand why our mind goes in this particular direction. And I'm pretty sure, as I said, you are representative. The question that you are asking pertains to employment, recruitment, job, and there are many others here who will have questions related to that, right? So, you have just entered your second year, am I right? Second year, everybody? Just completed your first year, entered your second year. And when there is an opportunity to ask anything, when there is an opportunity to deal with anything, and there is complete freedom to pick up any part of your life and gain clarity on it, what is it that you pick up? What is it that you pick up? You pick up job, recruitment, career, employment. Now, what does that tell about our minds? What does that tell about our minds? Yes? What does that tell about our minds?
Probably very thoughtful of the future.
Could I say preoccupied with the future?
Not exactly.
And how long into the future? Remember, you have just cleared your first year. Recruitment is 2 or 3 years ahead of you. What you are currently, that will move, that will grow into the person who is going to walk into that interview room or GD room or whatever is the process. Are you understanding this? Are you understanding this? The person who will walk into that GD room, Manas, is the same person who is sitting over here, right? He will not descend from the heavens on that particular day, or would he? Would he? Now, if at this moment I am thinking about something that is not right now, but would be present somewhere in the future, then is any understanding, any growth possible in this moment? Remember, you are sitting here physically, right? Let's be together on this. We are sitting here physically, correct? And everything is available to us to be asked. And what is our immediate reality? That we are BTech second year students, that we are here right now living a particular kind of life, and that is our direct, real, immediate life. From this directness, from this that I am right now, will emerge the person who will graduate into the third year and consequently into the fourth year. Correct? What am I to pay attention to? To this person or to that who is yet very imaginary, who is going to be in the fourth year? What am I to pay attention to? To this person or to that will happen in fourth year, or say 5 years from today, or 10 years from today, or 20 years from today? What am I to pay attention to? In fact, what is it that can ever be attended to? I understand why this is perplexing all of you. Most of the times we are thinking about the future, and that we call attending to the future, right? Most of the times we are greatly bothered with the future. Most of the times we are thinking about it. And that is what I tried to say as preoccupation. Most of the times we are absent from what is right now. But the irony of it is, what is right now is exactly what will give birth to what will happen tomorrow and day after and day after. What is right now will lead to what will happen that and that and that. If this is alright and complete, if this is alright and complete, would it not automatically give birth to that which would also be complete? Conversely, if this which is right now, if this which is right now is not complete, if I am not attentive to this, can that which will be born from this be complete? If I am not present in this moment, can I be doing anything worthwhile in that next moment? Alright, let's understand it through an example. The same fellow who is sitting here is also going to walk into an interview room, right? Inside the interview room, can I be a different person compared to what I am standing outside the interview room? Can I be that? Can I suddenly transform into a different mind altogether? Is that possible? Is that possible? No. If I have practiced lack of attention all my life, can I display attention at the time of interview? If I have practiced lack of attention in my first year, in my second year, in my third year, will I become suddenly attentive at the time of interview? Yes. If I have lived in the future all my life, can I start living in the moment of interview when the interview is going on? So what will happen then? What will happen is that just as right now you are bothered about GDs and interviews, at the moment of interview, you will not be concerned with the interview, but you will be bothered about something ahead of the interview. And what will that do to the process of your interview? What will that do to the process of your interview? You're sitting in front of an HR person, and you have made it a habit to not to be present, but to be wandering in some imaginations about the future. You have made it a habit with yourself. Now what will that do to the quality of your interview? What will that do to that? Can you see what will that do? What will that do? That will just destroy your interview. And that is the reason why, if you would watch, if a recruiting company is coming to your campus, and you go and watch that whole scene that is being enacted, you'll find your seniors terribly nervous. Most people do not get disqualified because they are incompetent. Most people get disqualified out of their own tremblings and shiverings. Because they are not going to be bothered. Because they are not bothered with what will happen at the time of interview. They are bothered what will happen after the interview. And how are they bothered with what will happen after the interview? They'll say, what if I am not selected? What will I tell my parents? How will my friends look at me? The entire society will call me a loser. Now, is all this going to happen in the interview? No. This is an imagination as to what can happen after the interview. Are you getting it? You are not about the moment of that interview. You're nervous about the fallouts, and all fallouts are in future. And because you're nervous about the fallouts, you spoil that moment badly. Have you seen this? Have you experienced this? Have you experienced this? Now, I am here. 150 of us are here. If at this moment you cannot listen to what is pulsating around here, what is happening in this room, and many of you are still wondering. One of you is looking at the back, and I can sense somebody is looking out of the window. Then what are you doing? You are practicing absence. You are practicing absence. And this man who is practicing absence all his life, how can he suddenly become a charismatic performer on the day of the interview? Can he become? Can he become? Let me give you another example. How many of you understand that any organization that is hiring places a lot of emphasis on leadership and initiative and the ability for self-expression? Do you see this? Do you know this? If you don't know this, then take it as an information from me. Any firm that is hiring places a lot of emphasis on somebody who is a self-starter, who knows how to take initiative, right? Now when you are sitting here and I ask you, who will be the first one to ask a question? It takes 10 seconds or 15 seconds for one particular man to come up, but the others are not yet coming up. Now what are you doing? You are practicing lack of initiative. And this habit that you have been carrying since the last 20 years and 22 years, when you reach the interview, can you overcome this habit in that moment? No, it won't be possible, because you have already given your mind a frozen structure. It won't be able to override that suddenly. It won't be able to override that suddenly. And if you try to override that, what will it do? It will try to wear some kind of a mask. You will try to wear the mask of an initiative taker. And that will do you no good. All your questions that pertain with the future are taking you away from what is right now. All your questions that pertain to your future are taking you away from what is right now. Now, if I am asking a question about a GD process that will happen in the future, then do you know what you are escaping from? Do you know what you are escaping from? What you are trying to run away from? You are trying to run away from a sense of insecurity. You are trying to run away from a sense of fear and apprehension. If you need to ask a question, why not ask a simple and direct question? Don't ask me what to speak in a GD or what does a firm look for in a GD. Ask me, why am I all the time thinking of the GD? Why am I at all times insecure about my future? That is the question to be asked. That is the root question to be addressed. And if that root question can be addressed, from that everything else will become clear. That is the question to be asked. What does the firm look for in a GD? Simple. It looks for people who don't have cluttered minds. It looks for people who don't have cluttered minds. And when you are not cluttered, when you are not bothered, then there is a simple, direct and very beautiful flow in your words. Whereas, when you are afraid and insecure and nervous, then howsoever well prepared you are, you will find that your voice is choking, that your mind is blocked with content, and that in those 10 or 15 minutes of GD or whatsoever it is, you are unable to do anything. After all, if I am an intelligent person, what is a GD? What is a GD? A few people sit together and they have something to discuss, right? Now, is this a very complex situation really? If I am an intelligent person and if I am given a topic to discuss with 8 or 10 others, do I really need to ask someone, sir, how should I speak? Sir, whether I should open the GD or not? Sir, is it a good thing to first listen to others and then respond? Sir, is it alright to have a one-to-one argument with somebody? Now, are these things that require special tutoring, coaching? Are these not matters of direct and obvious common sense? But then when we are afraid, then common sense evaporates. And then we start asking these questions, which are not questions at all. It's like asking somebody, how do I put my next step and where do I put it? It's like asking somebody, I'm lost on the road. I want to ask for directions. How do I ask? How do you ask? You just call somebody and ask him. That's it. Finished. When you're speaking to your friends, do you really go and take tutorials from somewhere how to speak with friends? Yes? Do you do that? You don't do that, and that is the reason when you speak with your friends, you are genuine, you are authentic. Imagine that your best friend has just gone and done a crash course on how to speak with your friends to gain maximum mileage. And he comes to you and starts speaking to you in a practiced, rehearsed way. How will you feel? How will you feel? How many of you will really feel grateful that my friend has done some kind of course in conversating with me? Yes? And how many of you would feel awful and tell him, dude, keep apart your practice, be real, be genuine? Interview or GD or anything is one of those life situations where you just have to be yourself. Where you just have to be yourself. Now, where do the topics of GD come from? They come from areas of awareness. Now, I get up in the morning and I'm bothered. Oh my God, I haven't been placed till now. Half of my batch has already been placed. I am the only one left in my peer group. And what do? In your anxiety, you don't discuss anything with anybody. You don't read the newspapers. You have no time to reflect. And all the time, your mind is busy imagining the future. With the result that when the moment of GD comes, you find you have nothing to speak. No content, nothing. So, what is the firm looking for in a person who is in a GD? Let me start by telling you what is the firm not looking for. No firm ever looks for fakes. Do you understand who is a fake? Who is a fake?
He who pretends to do
Somebody who is pretending. An HR person is first and foremost a person, a human being. Does any human being like to deal with fakes? Does any human being like to deal with fakes? So first thing that is not to be done in a GD or anywhere is pretension. Are you understanding this? There is nobody who does not value authenticity. And authenticity cannot be taught. You are already authentic. If you are taught something, in fact, you will lose your authenticity. are tired of hearing the same kinds of rehearsed, mechanical, textbook answers day in and day out. When they enjoy it, when they meet somebody who is really authentic, really genuine. But then we make it a point with ourselves to not to be genuine. Come to think of it, all your preparation, what is it if not an effort at pretension? People come to seek answers like, sir, if someone asks me, what are my strengths? What should I answer? It's you and your strengths. How can anybody else tell you? But this small thing called recruitment is a great way of looking at our entire life. You know, this is the way a youngster is being prepared to go through his or her life. In a mechanical way, in a routine way, in a way that is born out of insecurity and fear and separation. And then life will be boring. Can a fearful person be joyful? Can somebody who is afraid be simultaneously happy? Is it possible? So that is the reason why we become like this. Inert, lethargic, laid back. Because all that is there, all that can be exciting and wonderful is right now. To be in the right now requires fearlessness, requires presence. Am I able to communicate something just a little bit? Are you with me? At least some of you. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Things will become clearer as we move on. So once I understand this response was not what you may have expected, but